Thank you for staying with us. A popular speaker series is returning to Wake Forest University this month. Their next face-to-face conversation will feature popular comedian and political commentator Trevor Noah. Jackie Pascal sat down with the moderator ahead of the event.
Sam, good morning. Thank you for being here.
Hey, it's so great to be here. Thanks for having me.
So first, can you just tell us a little bit more about your background and career?
Yeah, I have worked in audio and radio and podcasting for about 14 years now. I covered politics and breaking news and culture at NPR and launched a few shows there. And now I host a culture podcast with two good friends of mine called Vibe Check. But I've been having conversations about current events for a very long time, which means I'm very honored to be talking with Trevor Noah very soon.
Yeah, I'm sure you've kept up with his career over the years. And
Yeah.
we were just talking about this, the face-to-face with Trevor Noah expected to be the biggest face-to-face in its 4-year history. Why do you think that is the case?
You know, I think back to when I was covering politics. I covered election 2016, and I always knew that I was coming to coverage of American politics as an American. And what I find so amazing about Trevor Noah is that he looks at American politics as an outsider. He is not from here. And so his perspective on current events, on politics, it's so new, it's so fresh, it's so needed. When he talks about our politics, I learn something new from his point of view in a way that I just don't with other people.
Yeah, I would agree with that. In watching his shows and his stand-up, he does have that outside point of view that kind of touches on a certain point maybe we wouldn't be able to get to.
Totally. He sees things we can't see.
Right, exactly. What questions are you excited to ask him, and what are you feeling like getting to meet him for the first time, right?
Yeah, you know, we both have similar upbringings. He is from South Africa. I'm from Texas, but we both grew up with very religious and churchy mothers, and the church was a big part of our young lives. So to talk about that and how it shaped us would be great. But I also want to ask him in this election year, whether or not American politics, as long as he's been thinking about it, has gotten better. He has been observing our politics now as an outsider for a very long time. Are we better or worse? What grade would Trevor give us as we head into this election year?
Yeah, I'd be curious to hear what grade he would give us as well. And many may not know about Trevor Noah's personal story. You just talked about that a little bit, maybe even his book. Can you talk more about that side of Trevor Noah, maybe that you're trying to get out of him in this interview?
Yeah, I mean, I think it is an incredible story. He is an immigrant. He, came here from South Africa. He lived through apartheid as a mixed race person. And he went from being a kind of small time broadcaster in South Africa to being one of the biggest commentators in America and one of the biggest comedians in the world. So on top of just this story of perseverance and grit and incredible talent, there's a story of someone who has lived in literally multiple worlds. And that perspective that he has is going to make the conversation so rich. It truly is almost a fairy tale, his life,
Yeah, it's cool to see it come to fruition now. How do you prepare for this kind of conversation going in? It's different than maybe the interview that we're doing now or that you're doing in a lot of your conversations on your shows and over the years. So how are you preparing for this?
Every day I kind of spend some time with Trevor. What's great about him is that there's a big back catalog. I'm going back and watching the Daily Show episodes. I'm playing his podcast every morning. I was just playing it right now, making my coffee. I have his audiobook playing in the car when I'm out running errands. So it's just Trevor overload. And usually a few days before the event or the interview, the questions will just come to me. So yeah, it is just absorbing as much Trevor as possible and then seeing what comes out of that.
The soundtrack of Trevor Noah. We'll see what pops out of that in the face-to-face conversation. Sam, thank you so much for your time this morning.
Tickets are selling fast for Trevor Noah's face-to-face conversation with Sam Sanders. It will be April 30th at the Joel Coliseum in Winston-Salem. If you'd like to grab a ticket, just head to face2face.wfu.edu.